Boy in J 2016, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, Amber. As if to prove something that Bruno already knew, he held his hand out, and Bruno couldn't help but notice that it was like the hand of the pretend skeleton that Harry List had brought with him one day when they were studying human anatomy. "I'd never noticed before," he said in a disbelieving voice, almost to himself. "Never noticed that?" asked Shmuel. In reply, Bruno held his own hand out so that the tip of their middle finger were almost touching. "Our hands," he said. "They are so different. Look." The two boys looked down at the same time, and the difference was easy to see. Although Bruno was small for his age, and certainly not fat, his hand appeared healthy and full of life. The wounds weren't visible through the skin, and the finger weren't little more than dying twigs. Shmuel's hand, however, told a different story. "How did it like that? How did it get like that?" he asked. "I don't know," said Shmuel. "It used to look more like yours, but I didn't notice it changing." "Everyone on my side of the fence looks like this now," Bruno frowned. He thought about the people in their striped pajamas and wondered what was going on out with and whether it wasn't a very bad idea if it made people look so unhealthy. None of it made any sense of him. Not wanting to look at Shmuel's hand any longer, Bruno turned rough and opened the refrigerator, rooting about inside it for something to eat. There was half stuffed chicken left over from lunchtime, and Bruno's eyes sparkled in delight, for there were very few things in life that he enjoyed more than cold chicken with sage and onion stuffing. He took a knife from the drawer and cut himself a few healthy slices and coated them with the stuffing before turning back to his friend. "I'm very glad you're here," he said, speaking with his mouth full. "If only you don't have to polish the glasses, I could show you my room." "He told me not to move from the seat, or there'll be trouble." "I wouldn't mind him," said Bruno, trying to sound braver than he really was. "This isn't his house, it's mine. And when father's away, I'm in charge. Can you believe he's never ever read Treasure Island?" Shmuel looked as if he wasn't really listening. Instead, his eyes were focused on the slices of chicken and stuffing that Bruno was throwing casually into his mouth. After a moment, Bruno realized that he was looking at and immediately felt guilty. "I'm sorry, Shmuel," he said quickly. I should I should have gave you some chicken too. Are you hungry?" "That's a question you never have to ask me," said Shmuel, who, although he had never met Gretel in his life, knew something about sarcasm too. "Wait there, I will cut some for you," said Bruno, opening the fridge and cutting another 3 healthy slices. "No, if he comes back," said Shmuel, shaking his hand quickly and looking back and forth towards the door. "If who comes back? You don't mean Lieutenant Cutler?" "I'm just supposed to be cleaning the glasses," he said, looking at the bowl of water in front of him in despair and then looking back at the slices of chicken that Bruno held out to him. He's not going to mind, said Bruno, who was confused by how anxious Shmuel seemed. It's only food. I can't, said Shmuel, shaking his hand and looking as if he was going to cry. He's coming back. I know he will, he continued, his sentence running quickly together. I should have eaten them when you offered them. Now it's too late. If I take them, he will come and... Shmuel, here, said Bruno, stepping forward and put the slices into his friend's hand. Just eat them. There's lots left for our tea. You don't have to worry about that. The boy stared at the food in his hand for a moment and then looked up at Bruno's with wide and grateful but terrified eye. He threw one more glance in the direction of the door and then seemed to make a decision, because he thrust all 3 slices into his mouth in one go and grumbled them down in 20 seconds flight. Well, you don't have to eat them so quickly, said Bruno. You'll make yourself sick. I don't care, said Smurl, giving a faint smile. Thank you, Bruno. Bruno smiled back, and he was about to offer him some more food. But just at that moment, Lieutenant Cutler reappeared in the kitchen and stopped it when he saw the 2 boys talking. Bruno stared at him, feeling the atmosphere grow heavy. Sensing Smith's shoulders sinking down as he reached for another glass and began polishing. Ignoring Bruno, Lieutenant Cutler marched over to Schmel and glared at him. What are you doing? He shouted. Didn't I tell you to polish these glasses? Schmel nodded his head quickly and started to tremble a little as he picked up another napkin and dipped it into the water. Who told you that you are allowed to talk in this house? Continued Cutler. Do you dare to disobey me? No, sir, said Smel quickly. I'm sorry, sir. He looked up at Lieutenant Cutler, who frowned and leaned forward slightly and tilting his head as he examined the boy's face. Have you been eating? He asked him in a quiet voice, as if he could scarcely believe it himself. Shmuel shook his head.